Welcome back to UpNorthLive Unscripted, everyone, and happy Thursday. We are almost to the weekend, so if you have some pretty big weekend plans, we need to bring in the expert right now, especially if you plan to go outside. We're going to go ahead and bring in meteorologist Joe Charlevoix. Hey, Joe, how's it going?
Hi, how you doing?
Doing pretty well, I was just telling everyone how if you have some weekend plans coming up, maybe you want to check the weather first before you run outside.
Yeah, there will be some rain. In fact, my uncle wrote me, my dad's brother. He's like, we're camping in St. Agnes and we want to go to Mackinac Island. What's better, Friday or Saturday? And I kind of, both days are kind of the same, dodging that chance for some rain. We've had a nice week so far, but, if you're watching right now, say in Manistee, Ludington, that area, the rain is already coming down. And the rest of us will see it not much far behind, too far behind, rather, overnight tonight. So we'll dodge some rain at times, Allie. We'll look at that, and then we'll take a peek to what to expect all the way into next week, coming up a little later in weather.
All right. Thank you, Joe. We'll check in with Joe again soon. Tonight, we're going to go ahead and start off with our question of the day. So tonight's question of the day: should all public schools in Michigan ban cell phones from classrooms? So far, 12% saying no, 88% saying yes. And I'm going to read some of the comments that you guys have been leaving us so far. And if you haven't had a chance to vote yet, you can go ahead and scan the QR code on your screen now. Chris chiming in and saying, yes, I think they should, or maybe just leave them in your car or locker. Ariane saying, yes, it is a serious distraction and addiction for our youth and adults. Tabitha said, yes and no. What if there's an emergency and no way of getting a hold of anyone? What if they're in the bathroom and can't get out because of a medical emergency? Jennifer saying, I lean towards yes. There was a time before cell phones and we all survived, but I do see both sides. And so that question of the day ties in with one of our stories today that Daniel Zivian worked on. Students at an Otsego County school will have to adopt to a new policy when they go back to class. And it's no outside technology in class, including cell phones. So Daniel was able to speak with the Vanderbilt superintendent today to learn more about this. I'm going to go ahead and we are going to play his story now.
Teen study from Central Michigan University linked addictive cell phone use in classrooms to poor grades. That study was one inspiration for a new policy at Vanderbilt area school.
No cell phones, no outside electronics, not even the smartwatches, or I want to say Game Boys, but that's like from the 90s.
The only exception will be school-issued Chromebooks. Superintendent David Harwood says the reason for the policy change can be traced back to students returning from COVID lockdown.
A lot of kids just came disconnected with their school and even their classmates. It was easy for them just to hide behind their phones or tablets. People in the country are starting to see the implications, what happened when we just rely so much on technology. We lose those connections.
Another inspiration for Harwood came from a bigger school district. TCAPS implemented a district-wide ban in 2023. With the school year in the books, their superintendent says it's working out.
And one of the people said, well, but don't they need to use technology? And we have Chromebooks. They're able to still use technology when the assignment, requires it. But it does take that distraction away, of social media and some of those kind of things and issues, where if it's out of sight, and it's not there, it really does enhance the learning environment.
And while Harwood anticipated backlash, he says the policy has already benefited Vanderbilt.
In fact, this week we've had some enrollment. It added because we had some people come in and say they want to enroll their kids just because of this. So I think parents are looking for schools to bring back their kids to education, bring back their kids to learning.
And that was the story that Daniel worked on today. Now we're going to go ahead and move things over to our top story. Now, you got a little teaser last night. This is a story that our anchor Mark Shillette has been working on. So Leelanau County Fire Department is explaining the crew and cost involved in rescues at Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore. And it was Glen Lake firefighters that they respond to most of these calls, and they posted to their social media pages, sharing some clarity on what happens if you can't make it back up the really steep overlook. So I'm going to go ahead and play Mark's story now.
Overlook is, you could say, the tallest freshwater dune in the world. It sits 450 feet above Lake Michigan.
From the top, 450 feet of breathtaking views. But if you're trying to climb back up, 450 feet of ever-shifting, truly breathtaking sand.
I have never done it, and there's a reason why. Climbing on sand up a 450-foot incline at a very steep angle, wind blowing, hot sand, everything in between, it's not a pleasant experience.
And when it turns from unpleasant to undoable, it can turn to expensive for visitors.
There's a point, probably 2016, 17, 18, it was almost one 911 call a day in the summer.
And when a 911 call is made that someone is struggling to get back up the dunes, it's all hands on deck.
If we're responding with our rangers, they're probably doing something else, which is okay because this is part of their job. But Glen Lake Fire is also responding.
Which means crews, either with the Park Service or the nearby Glen Lake Fire Department, are here doing this and aren't readily available to respond to other calls.
When we have a call there, all 5 people from both stations go, along with usually 4 or 5 people from the national park. And that's still pretty slim on the amount of people we need to actually effect a rescue.
Leaving no one back here at the fire station until the dune rescue is complete.
There's another call that comes up, and that does happen. Either we have to rely on mutual aid or break somebody loose from that call, but it greatly delays the response.
But progress has been made. The number of 911 calls has dropped. The Park Service has volunteers who warn potential dune climbers just how hard it is to get back up. Signs have been added. And a wrinkle in recent years, a warning that you may be billed by the fire department for the cost to get you back to the top.
There's an equipment cost, a training cost, and a personnel cost for any response on the lakeshore.
It's more than just payroll. Sand, essentially small pieces of glass, destroys the 1,500 feet of rope used to hoist folks from the bottom.
It's a few dollars per foot when we replace it. So it gets expensive real quick.
And that's just the rope. The fire department has set up 3 tiers of charges, starting at $675 and up, based on the techniques, equipment, and personnel a rescue takes.
Legally, we can bill them. There's really no legal requirement that we can force them to pay. So I would say in the neighborhood of half that we send a bill to, people don't pay it.
Which means often the fire department eats the cost for folks who overestimated their abilities but still needed the help. With that in mind, a call tonight to all park visitors. Know your limits. Keep in mind the potential physical and financial burdens you may be placing on yourself, as well as the folks who come to save you.
If you typically take the elevator at the shopping mall rather than the stairs, maybe you should find a smaller piece of the dunes to explore.
And I'm going to go ahead and bring in Mark now. Hey, Mark. Oh, you made it home.
No, this isn't my home.
Oh, this isn't your home.
I stopped and ran an errand on my way home. So, because it was raining, normally I'd go from that same church parking lot. But I was like, yeah, we'll go into town and run an errand. But I wish this was my home. I mean, look at these plants, right?
I was going to say, you definitely have a green thumb. Look at all those plants.
It's somebody else's green thumb. So, yeah.
Well, hey, Mark, thanks for joining us tonight and for breaking down some of those costs involved. I know when I go on social media a lot, some of the things I see the most about Northern Michigan is that Sleeping Bear Dunes overlook. And people love filming that sign because it really stands out to them saying, oh my gosh, like they're going to charge me if I can't get back up.
It is a talk. We're not talking about the climb, which a lot of people do think about. On Pierce Drive, overlook number 9 and 10, and it's 450-foot drop down right there that do run super easy. Nobody has a problem down, but getting back up is the thing that really takes a lot of time. Now, before when the water levels were high several years ago, you couldn't walk out. But right now you can. So if you get to the bottom and you decide I just can't get back up the top, you can actually walk down the beach and get down to North Bar and get out that way. It's much easier. But an awful lot of people are like, no, I want the challenge of going back. Most people want that challenge for about the first 100 feet, really, and how much effort it takes to get 1 foot up and it slides down. Half your progress is made because it's sand. So it is a physical undertaking. That being said, there were people when I was out there filming and shooting it that ran up the entire thing in minutes. But there are also people that take hours, and you're exposed to the sun, the wind, the heat, the sand is hot. You get dehydrated on hot day. So it is really one of those things where the Park Service and the fire crews are all asking everyone, know what your limits are, know what your expectations are, pace yourself. And if you think you don't want to do it, you're probably right.
Well, something that really stood out to me from your story is that they used to get one 911 call a day out there.
Day. Think about that. And you talk about park rangers that tend to be spread out all over that park, which is a massive park, right? And then the Glen Arbor, Glen Lake Fire Department, which is not heavily staffed. Those firefighters that everybody has to run, because when you think about it, I showed some pictures there of what a rescue would look like. It involves a lot of people. This is not just like one or two people show up. They need people to work the ropes, to get down, to lift up. It's heavily labor intensive. It requires a lot of people. So all of those people, the firefighters and park rangers, are all centered in one area right there at the Outlook, which leaves an awful lot of the park and an awful lot of the service area for the Glen Lake Fire Department basically unmanned or unpersoned at that time. So they're really asking people, don't know what you're doing. Don't put yourself and don't put our rescuers in this situation where we're having to rely on other sources to handle what is our normal job.
And not just other departments and agencies as well. They're using some pretty specialized equipment to get you from this very unique environment.
Yeah, they train for this all the time. They have equipment that you and I both been in a lot of fire stations. We've seen a lot of different equipment. They have bags with 700-foot-long ropes, 500-foot-long ropes, propelling gear like that a lot of fire departments may not have to that extent. Something else that's important to know. The fire department normally doesn't charge if somebody calls on behalf of somebody else. So if you're there and you see somebody struggling, somebody having a heart condition, they don't want people to be like, well, I should call because I don't want this person to get charged. So they want to know that there are emergencies. They want to know that people can be comfortable to call, but don't put yourself in that situation if you don't have to be.
Right. And I love the park superintendent's message as well. Like, if you're somebody who normally takes the elevator, then you're probably not somebody who wants to walk back up.
No, absolutely. And into context, like we joked about, what they should do is they should have like a 10-foot section of sand out there to be like, okay, walk up that. And kind of like, at the amusement park where you have to be this tall to ride the ride, kind of thing. Like if you can getting up this little 10-foot section is enough, maybe you might want to consider the other one, but give it a go because the downhill is deceiving compared to the uphill.
Gotcha. Well, hey, Mark, thank you so much for joining us tonight and breaking down those costs for us. We're going to go ahead and head now into our first commercial break. And those of you who are joining us online, I'm going to go ahead and put back up our question of the day. And Joe is going to have a forecast for us when we come back. You're watching Up North Live Unscripted. Welcome back to Up North Live Unscripted. We're going to go ahead now and check in with our chief meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix. Hey, Joe, welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for the invite.
It wouldn't be unscripted without you, you know?
Well, you know what? We have some rain coming in. I'm watching the radar here, and most of us will get some rain tonight and into part of the weekend coming up here. But a couple good things with that. We do need the rain. It dries out quick this time of the year, and it'll kind of knock some of the pollen down too. You know, a little bit of that.
Ooh, I love to hear that because I get allergies so bad. So that's really good to hear.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah, the rain does help with that, at least in some cases here. Let's go to. I want to go to Buckley. Take a look here, Allie. This was the Old Engine Show earlier today at Wexford County, the Buckley Old Engine Show. Dan, our director and drone operator, was out and got these pictures earlier today. Look at the tractors. Look how many. A lot of engines there. And then, of course, they got the train there. This is a great event if you have the chance to attend it. Don't let any rain deter you because this is a fun event to take part in. And every year here in August, and that was the view. Already a lot of folks out there today enjoying the Buckley Old Engine Show. That was earlier today. Let's go to right now. This is a live look on Mackinac Island from Mission Point Resort. Still pretty nice there. Partly cloudy and 73 with an east wind. You know, you're looking at this camera, you wouldn't know that rain is quite on the way in yet. But with low pressure approaching from the west, and there it is tonight up in Minnesota, that is going to swing in a band of rain. And here's what that looks like right now. There's the rain swirling away into, well, the UP, and then now into, as we zoom in here, all the areas up there in Escanaba, Iron Mountain, and then down along the lake shore here. So we'll follow this down. So if you're watching right now, like Manistee, Ludington, you've got some pretty steady rain coming down now into Newaygo County there on Baldwin, back up through Manistee, getting into Wexford and Grand Traverse counties now, areas there around Frankfort, Benzonia, seeing some rain. And that'll be the case through tonight. So here's what we're looking at. This initial band of rain will pass through tonight. And then late tonight, see there around Traverse City, perhaps a couple late night thunderstorms early tomorrow morning before those come to an end. And then we'll get into the afternoon tomorrow. I think a little bit of sun could peek through, but we'll be dodging. You see the clock there. It's 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, some of these passing showers and storms. And then that low will swirl right over us Saturday, and that's going to keep some of the rain around for Saturday too. And some of this rain could be pretty generous. You know, if we run this out, a rough estimate on the rain, and don't take these numbers exactly to heart, but if you get over underneath some of these heavier showers or storms, you're going to see quite a bit of rain in a pretty short period of time. Few events to quickly take care of. The Wild Blueberry Festival will kick off tomorrow up in Paradise in Chippewa County. 70s, yeah, off and on rain there. The Alpena County Fair continuing through Saturday. 70s, passing rain and thunder both Friday and Saturday. And the Northern District Fair is in Cadillac Friday and Saturday. Same thing here, passing rain and thunder. Still a few showers on Sunday. After that, we get right back to dry weather Monday through Thursday and plenty of sunshine. So it looks pretty nice next week once we get through some of this rain here, Allie, over the next few days.
All right. Thank you, Joe. We'll see you later. And for those of you who are joining us online during our commercial break, I'm going to go ahead and put back up our question of the day. If you haven't chimed in yet, we're going to hear from Sports Director Harrison Beebe next. You're watching Up North Live Unscripted. Welcome back to UpNorthLive Unscripted. Let's go ahead now and bring in Sports Director Harrison Beebe. Harrison, it's great to have you back with us in the building, not on the road, although we know you were getting some pretty great content when you were out there.
Yeah, now I'm in the content center reporting about the video we've been gathering the last few days. If you watched the show yesterday, you knew I set a world record for myself of most football camps visited in a day. I hope to never break that record, but we'll see. I guess that's the whole point. Records are made to be broken. We got a lot of camps we're going to filter in up to opening day, which is 2 weeks from today. High school football is going to get started with games. So 2 weeks from tonight, mark those calendars. And then that Friday night, right before Labor Day, there's a lot of games as well. So it's going to be a busy few weeks of camps that we've stopped at that we're going to recap here on Up North Live today. And it's the segment ran at 6 o'clock. You can see at 11, the Kingsley Stags. They're the defending state champions in Division 6. And we stopped by the Justin Hansen camp they had yesterday is Tim War and his new co-head coach, Jason Morrow, there on the sidelines. Well, there's Tim walking right in the middle of the guys as they do their calisthenics. They're a pretty intense drill they were doing at practice to get the boys ready for the season. Let me tell you, Allie, for state champions, and I know a lot of this team is going to look different from last year, but for guys that just won the big prize in high school football, these guys are acting like there's still a lot more left to win. So that's a good sign for fans of Kingsley football this year and to expect to show from this team.
Yeah, what else did you notice when you were out there? Because obviously this is super exciting. They're coming off winning a state championship. Is that energy still there?
Oh, most definitely. And they're going to have a tough schedule this year, but with Warren Morrow at the helm, I mean, Kingsley's never had a bad season under Tim Moore since he came back in 2018. So at the very least, they're going to be competitive once again. And I wouldn't be shocked to see him make another deep postseason run.
Now, Harrison, have you decided what your first official game you're covering is going to be?
I have not yet, but we will, I'm sure, be at Rhodes Field. That's the opening Thursday night in 2 weeks. I'm sure we'll have a camera there for sure. The Stags are taking on Reed City, and I think that's a rematch of a semifinal game from last postseason, regional or semifinal. I'm blanking right now. It's not in front of me. So that'll for sure be one of the matchups I bet we'll cover on opening nights right here on Up North Live.
All right, perfect. Well, Harrison, thanks for joining us today. I'm going to go ahead and put back up our question of the day for those of you who are joining us online. You're watching Up North Live Unscripted. Welcome back to Up North Live Unscripted. Let's take one last look at our question of the day. Should all public schools in Michigan ban cell phones from the classroom? And now these results haven't changed that much since the start of the show. 12% saying no, 88% saying yes. I'll read one more comment from Gail. Cell phones can stay, but rules have to be made. No texting during class. Parents calling them while they're in class is the biggest issue. Well, thanks for tuning in for Up North Live Unscripted. We'll see you back here tonight for Up North Live News at 11.